Okay, we are up and running in some way anyways. If you're watching on replay, let me know in the comments, #replay. And let's see, it looks like YouTube is doing something and Facebook is doing something, so that's good. Give everything a moment to catch up. And let's see. It's Monday. Right, I don't know why. There we go. I swear, and like even on my computer, my Facebook, the way things are going keeps changing. And I don't like it. I don't like it when Facebook updates their app and updates their way they do things. It messes me up. Hi, Cindy. You know the drill. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me how your weekend was. Tell me what you think about this weather. I am loving it. I actually spent some time outside yesterday and today, sitting in the sun, basking it up. I feel like this might be the last few days of being able to have the windows open during the day and get some fresh air and get some sunshine before the S word happens. I know it's not in the forecast yet, but it's coming. It's coming. I know, but it's part of living in Michigan, I guess, right? We can't really do too much about it. Okay, so I just hit something, but I don't know what I hit because everything shook. If you're watching on Facebook, as a reminder that we go live both on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook and you have problems where it's glitching or anything like that, you can always pop over to YouTube, watch us over there. Same if you're on YouTube and you decide you want to watch us on Facebook, you can do that as well. And both Facebook and YouTube are recorded and posted. So if you have to leave us early, you can always pop back later and see what it was you missed and what it was we talked about. So it is after 7, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to Monday Motivation. Today is October 13th. We're almost halfway through October already, and next month is November, which means it's Thanksgiving and Black Friday and Small Business Saturday, which is just is crazy to me to think about that it's so close. And almost the end of the year. But you know, complaining about it doesn't change the fact that the calendar is what it is, right? So just have to deal with it. My name is Kristen. I am the owner of the Little Yarn Shop located in Saginaw, Michigan, inside the SVRC Marketplace in downtown Saginaw. I said that already, I think. Marketplace hours are Wednesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the shop hours are Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. As a reminder, if you're coming into the marketplace for a vendor other than us, because our hours are pretty consistent. There aren't many times when you'll find us not opening at 10 and not being here till 7. It happens very rarely. But if you're coming to see us, but also see other vendors, make sure you check their social medias. All of the businesses in here are small businesses, so sometimes things happen. Our favorite deli in here, Pearl's Deli, sometimes Mitch has some health problems and he's pretty much a one-man show over there besides his niece Aubrey helping him out. So keep that in mind, but check before you come in if there's something that you wanted to specifically grab while you're here. And of course, come see us. Let's see, why am I not seeing comments now? I gotta figure out what's happening. I can only see we have a few friends on Facebook. Awesome. For some reason, oh, let's see. Oh, there we go. Need to see all comments. I had to shift things around a little bit. Okay, why? Now it's gonna be backwards for me, but Facebook is killing me. Cindy, Sherry, Shar, hi. Melissa said a couple friends on YouTube. Sarah working on a different MCAL into the hoods. Ooh, is that the Laura Nelkin one? I'm curious. I can't click on the link while I'm talking, but I know Laura Nelkin does like a hooded cowl of some sort, mystery knit along every October too. I did hers last year after the fact, and I may this year too because I like her patterns. Holly, awesome weather. Waiting for John to come home and cook a steak. Sounds delicious. Joyce working on some charity knitting and a market bag. Excellent. Hi, Mama. Nicole working on the Grandana cowl. Hope to have it finished. Oh. Holly says, what aren't I working on? Yes. Awesome. Okay, I need to figure out a way for my comments to be more timely. And I don't know. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Yes, that's the one. Okay. Yeah. All it's showing me is, let's go newest. There we go. Hopefully that'll work now. Cheryl finishing up the musical clue 2. Me too. And I will talk about that a little bit today. The mystery musical, Stephen West mystery knit along. I've got one more eyelet stripe and one more little ripple to do, and or squiggle or whatever he calls it, and then I'll be done. So I'm getting close. Okay, so let's see. What are we talking about today? What am I wearing? I am wearing, the pattern is called Little White Cardi. Clearly mine is not white. But it is a strand of sport weight yarn held with a strand of lace. I think she calls for mohair, but I used the Malabrigo silk paca, which is an alpaca silk lace blend. So it doesn't have the super fuzzy halo. You still get the fun marled effect though. It is a pattern written by Kate Oates. Awesome size inclusion. It goes from a 32 up to a 72-inch bust. I did the size 3 with very clearly 0 ease in it because it's kind of snug. But I did this a couple years ago. I'm sure at the time it had a little bit more ease in it than it does now. But it's a really great, I think it's a top down. I know the button band is picked up after the fact. It's supposed to have buttons. I do have buttonholes. I just never put any buttons on it, but it's got this really pretty little eyelet design. Just don't pay attention to that eyelet right there because it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be little clusters of 4 like that. Obviously if you did it in one color, her original one is a white sport weight yarn with a white mohair. So it's just a really nice, simple, basic cardi. And it's designed for like 0 to 4 inches of ease, and it's a fairly cropped sweater as well, but it's just kind of a classic. I like the design of it. I do like the fit of it. I probably would make another one in just a single color because I like how it fits. I like this collar, the neckline on it. I'm not really one to do up and button up very many things, so I don't mind the fact that I didn't put buttons on it. It's pretty typical of how I would wear it anyway. Buttons maybe would add something. I know Ashley, if any of you have seen Ashley's project, she's a huge fan of going on the hunt for really cool buttons to accessorize her projects, and I think that's awesome. So maybe some fun buttons would zhuzh it up a little bit more, but I like the way it is. Let's see. I can't see what happens. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Can't. I'm trying to see. I can't see comments. I can't see. I don't know what the deal is with my Facebook stuff. Like I see comments, but then I have to like, I'm not seeing any new ones. And I don't know why that is. So I'm sorry, you guys, give me a minute to try and figure this out. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Ah! It won't give me like real time comments. Rosaria, hi. Sheila, hi. Yeah, like it's showing me comments and then it's not showing me comments. I don't know what the deal is. Most relevant, all comments, show newest comments first, but then it's not showing. all of the comments. Ah, I apologize, you guys, if I'm not, um, I told you that might happen too. My poor little tripod that my phone sits on is I think on its last leg. Hopefully I didn't blow out anybody's speakers. Oh, it's always a fun time with me. And now it's a little bit off, but hopefully you can still hear me okay. Oh, good times. And I still don't know. I don't know what's happening with the comments, you guys. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep switching back and forth so I can see Facebook comments. They're not showing up on my phone, which is what just fell, which is how I'm recording. But yeah, I usually can see them on my laptop, and that's not working either. So Melissa will just have to keep an eye on things and maybe um if there's something that I really need to get to somehow she can flag me down and figure it out. Okay, maybe there's a little bit more. Tony, hi. Facebook is acting up with the comments. Yeah, I don't know. They've changed things, but okay. Maybe maybe I got it now. We'll see. Uh, I'm here for your entertainment and your enjoyment. What can I say? Okay, so that's what I'm wearing. Got me all discombobulated now. What am I working on? I'll show you my retro sweater first. That is I've been doing a little bit on this when I'm not working on the mystery knit along. So I'm not a ton further than I was last week. Hi, Oriana. So this is the retro sweater. Body is done. Sleeve is just about to elbow length. So I'm done with the decreases. I'm just knitting away now until I get to the length that I need. I'm using the retro sweater calls for DK weight yarn in 1 or 3 colors. The yarn I'm using is the Molly Klein DK in our three of our custom colors. So I've got silver lining, ocean, and ink. Those are the 3 colors I'm using. You'll see when I get to the shawl mystery knit along that the colors will look very similar because I'm using them in that as well, but in the fingering weight. So this is DK weight, Molly Klein Designs yarn. She calls it her darling DK, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Each skein is 100 grams and 240 yards. I started the second skein of my silver for when I was doing the ribbing on the bottom. Thank you, Oriana. Oriana said, love the retro sweater. I really am happy with how it's turning out. I love it. It's very Detroit Lionsy, which I'm okay with that. I'm a Michigan girl, so it's all right. So the first skein of my light gray silver lining, which is my main color, got me about halfway through the ribbing. So the body of the sweater halfway through the ribbing before I had to add the second one. My wool mitten said, finally catching live versus replay. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I just started my second skein of the ocean, and I'm getting ready to start the second skein of my ink. So yes, if you're doing 3 colors, you're going to need 2 skeins each, at least 2 skeins each of your 3 colors. But I've got a sleeve and a half to do, and that will be done since I already did my collar. The bottom ribbing was supposed to be done in the same color as my collar, but I wanted it to be more consistent with how the colors were transitioning, and I didn't quite get the full transition down with all of these, but I didn't want it any longer than it was. So I decided to go with the silver because that would have been next in the color order anyway. It's your knitting. You can do whatever you want with it. Hi, Aunt Jackie. So this is what's the last little bit left of my first skein of the darkest ink color on that. So like I said, that's not getting a ton of work on it right now because I'm working on the mystery knit along. And I'm going to show that now. So the pattern is by Stephen West. It's called Mystery Musicale because it's a mystery knit along. We know it's a shawl. I don't know what the final shape is going to be. I don't know how big it's going to be, but his shawls tend to typically be on the larger side. However, if we're almost half done, it's really not that big. And it only takes 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn. A lot of his past ones have used 5 skeins. I'm almost through clue 2. Clues come out on Thursdays. So we've got 2 clues left this Thursday and then next Thursday. So it goes the month of October. Every year he does this. This is his 16th one, I think he said. So just a reminder, this was clue 1. These, what did he call them? Scallops. So 6 scallops, that was part of clue 1. You started down with this one at the point and built out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was clue 1. And each of these scallops has some brioche in there. There is an option to do garter ridges if you don't want to do the brioche. Last week, one of the things I mentioned was that one of my scallops only had 3 rows of eyelets instead of 4. I did end up ripping that back. I think I could have gotten away with it and fudged it, but when I laid it out and took a picture of it, I could see the difference that one scallop was just a little bit shorter. So it didn't take me long. I had to rip out just like 2 rows of blue and this little welt, add the eyelet row and another row after it, and that was it. So it wasn't difficult to redo, and I decided it was worth it. So clue 2 is a lot more knitting, but it's a lot simpler knitting. So this is where we are with clue 2. So he's calling, I don't remember if he calls them squiggles or scribbles, or let me look at my patterns because I have it here on my clue 2 mystery knit along eyelet squiggles. So you end up with 9 total squiggles, 3 in each color. So there are 4 colors total. Blue is my color A. The teal is my color B. This light gray is my color C, and this dark gray is my color D. So you're using all of them, and this edge is getting a little bit longer. So he said it's supposed to be reminiscent of like sound waves. So it's narrow at one end. You do short rows to kind of get these little short squiggles. But his short rows are really easy to do. There's no German short rows. There's no wrap and turn. All you do is turn, move your yarn, and knit back the other direction. His video is really, really helpful on how to pick up the purl bump to close up the gap. Just make sure you pay attention to how things are written, because I did mess that up on my first one. But so they're narrower down here, wider, 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 and then they get to this far point. So I've got one more teal, got one more eyelet to do and one more teal squiggle, and then clue 2 will be done. And technically then we will be halfway done with the shawl. I don't know where he's going with it, but it's really not that big for being halfway done, which makes me think there's probably a fair amount of knitting coming up in the future. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be done in the month of October. Karen jokingly, half jokingly says her goal is to get her knit along, her shawl done before the launch of the next one. So as long as she gets it done by next October 1st, then she considers herself ahead of the game on things, or at least caught up. But it's a lot of garter, this one. So it's not as much to pay attention to. You don't have to focus quite so much. He has you place markers every time you're turning. And it's fun. It's just a lot of knitting, but that's okay. Sitting out in the sun today, I had a little bit of time to work on this. I thought I could maybe get it done to show you guys, but I didn't get that far. So, but I'm getting close. And if you if you're on Facebook and you haven't found your way to the group that's called Unofficial, I think it's Unofficial West Knits MCALs. It's a fun group and it seems to be a very supportive group, and it's a really great way to see what other people are doing with their projects, how they've mixed their colors up. I imagine a few of the people that post their projects in there are test knitters, because not long after he releases the clue, they will post pictures of theirs, which is kind of nice to see if you want to kind of play around with how you want your colors to be. But of course, this year, one of the things he's done differently is each clue update includes a separate PDF with spoiler photos, not only of his, but of test knitters as well. So you can kind of get an idea of what that clue is going to look like and how you want your colors to play out. So kind of fun to be able to switch things up if you want to. I was going to switch my colors around, but then decided I'm just going to try and follow the rules the way they're written. So it's accurate when people look at the pattern and look at the shop sample and see what that the pattern is an accurate representation of what the pattern says to do, I guess would be the best way to put it. So those are my two projects that I'm working on. And I've had to kind of take a break from crochet for a bit. I'm having problems with my elbow and my wrist and my hand on both sides. So I think all of that crocheting I was doing may have irritated some things, inflamed some things. So I'm having to take a break from crochet, which means, oh, yep, I have to talk about that. My fall sweatshirt only has one sleeve right now, but I'm hoping I can get back to that. So Melissa just posted a link to a YouTube video on an alternative method to weaving in your ends to the Weave and Steven. So if you've done any Stephen West projects and watched any of his videos, he has this method called Weave and Steven to weave in his ends. It's not my favorite way to do things, but in a project like this, when there are a gazillion ends to weave in, I don't recommend waiting until you're done to weave your ends in. So in Googling one day, I may have talked about this before, but I wanted to share it again. I was going to pull up his method to look, and this other method popped up that by Yarn Lab as an alternative method to the Weave and Steven. And if you've ever done any sort of stranded color work, she explains that it's similar to how you would trap your yarn if you had a really long float on things. But you're just doing it like every other stitch. So I found when I was doing the Weave and Steven method, sometimes it made the right side of my work a little gappy and the wrong side kind of bulky. But because all of these have ends that need to be woven in, I used the Yarn Lab alternate method to weave all these ends in. I did trim them a little bit, but you can still kind of see where they are. But there's no, they're pretty invisible. It's just a matter of making sure that you're not weaving them in when you're doing something like an eyelet where it would show through. But I'm really a big fan of that method. Joyce and I have talked about it. She's used it on some of the crazy socks she's done where it's a bunch of different ends and different colors. She has actually researched taking it a step further, where if you're knitting it in the round, it's a completely different method than if you're just going back and forth. But I wanted to bring that to your attention because, yeah, not many of us really enjoy weaving ends in. I don't mind it if it's just stockinette for a sweater or something like that. But when you get into patterning and you get into even garter, it gets tricky to weave the ends in on the wrong side and have them secure and not visible from the right side and have it seem neat. And I really like this method of doing things. I do think it's a little bit easier as a continental knitter, that method, because I can hold both in my left hand. But I still think it's a great method either way. And she does show both English and continental styles for how to do that. The fission knitting class that's coming up, it's starting, it's scheduled to start this Thursday afternoon. That is the class that Joyce is teaching. on the technique called fission knitting, where this is my little swatch. This is what you do week 1, and then week 2 is a cowl. It's a really cool technique. It's not that complicated, but it's something that's new and kind of different. We may end up having to push the class back a week because right now we don't have, I want to make sure it's worth Joyce's time. So I have a minimum number of people that we want to have in that class before it goes. And we're not there yet. So if you've been on the fence, kind of thinking about it, go ahead and sign up. There's still availability in the class. I will make that determination probably Wednesday morning on whether we're going to push it back a week, or if you were interested in the class but couldn't make it this week but the next 2 weeks would work, let me know that too, and maybe that will help us decide what we're going to do with it. But it's a really neat technique. Mary Martin is the designer or the originator of it, and you're knitting with 2 colors to create like a marled fabric, very similar to what you would do in something like this. You're just holding 2 strands together. And when you get to these specific stitches, you're just only knitting with one of the colors instead of both. The rest is all purling. You guys know it's not my favorite thing to do, but it's totally worth it for the fabric and the texture and everything in this. So, fission knitting, it's a 2-week class with the option to stop in after that. Hi, Maria. After that, for the next couple weeks, if you get stuck, need help, anything like that. 2:30 to 4:30. So it's scheduled October 16th and 23rd. If we need to, we can push it back and do the 23rd and the 30th. So that's a possibility. What else is coming up? October 25th is, well, before that. October, is it really this? No, October 24th. Math is a thing that's in my head sometimes. Friday, October 24th is Halloween trick-or-treating here at the marketplace. So that is in the afternoon/evening. I think it goes like 4 to 6 or something like that, which won't affect very many of you. It's the Friday before the actual Halloween. But trick-or-treating here in the marketplace. So it does get pretty chaotic in here, but if you want to see a bunch of littles all dressed up and looking really cute, it's a fun time to have to be in here. Not many of them traipse actually through the shop. They tend to kind of bypass and walk by the windows, but it's fun to see them all dressed up and their moms and dads and siblings and even the teenagers coming through with their costumes. So that is a week from Friday. Then the day after that, October 25th, is Malabrigo Day. I got the box on Friday of all the goodies. I have not opened it yet. I was afraid if I opened it too soon, I might start showing things off to everybody, and I want to wait because it's going to be for Malabrigo Day, which is going to be very exciting. So, but we did get the box of sample skeins and goodies to give away, and I don't even know what else is in there, but I'm excited about it. So October 25th, all day, we are going to be here. We'll have samples of all of their bases, their yarns, their roving for you to see, to touch, to feel, to get ideas about. We really encourage everybody to wear or bring something that is made out of Malabrigo yarn or out of Malabrigo roving. So we can brag about it and show it off. It's going to be a fun time. If you don't follow Malabrigo on the social medias, make sure you do that. I've been trying to share some of their posts, but they're doing this 20 days of Malabrigo for their 20th anniversary. Today's post was about different plies of yarns and different weights of yarns and how you could have a worsted weight yarn and have it be a single ply or a 6-ply or a 4-ply and how that will vary your finished product and the fabric that it creates, which I think is kind of fun. The other day they had one about how to pronounce some of their yarns and some of their bases like Machida and Anniversario and Malabrigo. on its own is Malabrigo. We have people come in and say Malabrigo, Malabrigio. We've heard a lot of different things, but it is Malabrigo. And we're excited to be able to partner with them because they're a great family owned business and we love their yarns too. So that's October 25th. Um, I was going to kind of go over the one-of-a-kind skeins that we posted about last week. I've got them here on the table. It's kind of tricky to talk about though, because they don't have any names on them. I will grab a couple that are unique and things that I've not seen. I mean, smushy cashmere. Did I say Malabrigo? Smushy cashmere, one-of-a-kind skeins. Posted about them last week. I feel like there are not very many colors that Dream in Color makes that we haven't had here in the shop. So some of the colors that we got from them are very similar to colors that we've gotten in the past. Like this one of a kind, we've got a couple of these here. And it's a one of a kind because it doesn't have a color name. So a lot of times these probably came from the same dye pot where the colors weren't, this is very similar to the color that they dyed up from LYS Day this year that came in the fun bag, but it's not quite as bright or quite as vibrant. So sometimes that happens where it doesn't meet their standards for what they want to qualify it as that color, but it's still a really cool, really beautiful color. So they call them one of a kinds and they put them together and yeah, they're still really pretty. So we've gotten colors very similar to these before. Each skein is $36.50, the regular smushy cashmere price, but it is fingering weight, 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, 4 ounces, 400 yards per skein. But there are some colors in here that I haven't seen before or that I don't remember seeing before. One is this pretty peach beauty. Like it's got this turquoise up in here, the peaches, and then some brighter pinks, a little bit more turquoise and purple down here. It's like some oranges that go peachy. I don't know what they were trying to go for with this, but this is beautiful. And so we've only got one skein of some of these. And it's tricky to talk about because I don't have names where where if you see something you like, you can say, oh, I want that, whatever it is. But I will highlight a couple of them because I do think they're unique and colors that we haven't seen before. So that's one, this peachy pretty one. There is this beauty that just looks, this reminds me of taking a walk in my mom and dad's woods. Got a little bit of bright blue in there, but then like some deep mossy greens and some forest greens and some goldy brown colors. It would make a really cool hat, camo style hat if you wanted to do something like that. It's just kind of like moody and I don't even know. I don't even know what I would call it, but I like this with the greens and a little bit of blues in there. And then there was the speckled one. I need longer arms. The speckle, so the base of the speckle is like a very pale blue gray and then kind of a tan color. But then the speckles that are in there are red and purple and blue. So you get a little bit of the yellow. The reds kind of bleed and go a little bit pink. The purples kind of fade into the blue. But it's a really neat, I haven't seen one like that from them either. So a little bit speckly. It'll go well, Oriana, with the ones that I have set aside for you. I'm gonna call you on Wednesday, I promise. The woodsy one. We'll get that's a good way to put it, the woodsy one. So this kind of this fun speckly one. And then the other one that I wanted to highlight was this mauvey. It's like mauves and greens and butter, yellow, gold. It's pale and it's pretty. Look at that green. Very springy. These peaches. Like it's peaches, but it's not bright peaches like that. It's just kind of more the yellowy orange. Really hard to describe, but very, very beautiful. So I would say that's the mauve one. Attach a post-it with a number on. I have done that, Tony. The problem is I had like 50 of them and I'm not going to go through all 50 of them. I did post the other day, photos with them broken down, like where I had groups of more than one of a color or just one of a specific skein. Can go back and look at those. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible without having to go through all of that. I guess I know there are a lot of shops that are very successful at doing it that way. That's just I think I tried that in the past and I just got myself more confused. So yeah, I have a table full. There are a lot more. Um, I still have a handful of those where I just had like all the solids, which I'm really glad. I wasn't sure when I got the box from Dreaming Color if it was going to be all highly variegated colors. But I was really happy with the mix that there were some tonals in there as well. The mauve one. Yes, Sarah, you need that one in your life. Okay. Yeah, I almost wonder because we've got this guy too, which is more peaches with this little bit of turquoise up at the top, almost like they were trying to do an assigned pooling color. And I almost wonder if that's what this was, but it just the colors didn't quite go right because they kind of have similar colors to them, but I don't know. Um, that's why they're one of a kinds, and that's what's fun about them. The downside is sometimes I find one of those that because we've gotten one of a kinds from them in the past, and I find a color that I love, and it's not an actual color, so I can't get any more of it. And but they just make it that like one special little thing. So okay, gonna. I was gonna say cut it a little short, but it is 7:40, so I guess it's about that time. But that is all I have to talk about today. Was thinking if there's anything else that I need to remind you guys about, but I think that's it. I think I went over everything. So have a great week. Remember to come in and see us. We do have a couple kits left from I Love Yarn Day, which was this past Saturday. If you came in to see us, thank you. We appreciate it. I know Jody popped in here for a little bit because she was posting about it and I saw her post on her personal page and I was like, where is she? That shop looks so pretty. And then I realized it was our shop, which made me feel really good. So I hope everybody has a great week and I hope you are inspired to start a new project or finish something or just keep going on something. But if we don't see you sometime this week in the shop, then I will be right back here next Monday at 7 and we will see you then. All right. Have a great week. See y'all.